Every single day, there's this invisible system that decides the price of your coffee, what you see on store shelves, even the kind of job you might have. We call it the free market. But how does this incredibly powerful and, let's be honest, kind of chaotic system actually work? Let's get into it.
So, what decides the price of, well, everything? You might think there's some person or a government committee pulling all the strings. But nope, the real answer is actually a lot more complex. And it starts in a place you might not expect, with you.
That's right. The entire, massive, global free market system, all of its mind-boggling scale and complexity, is built on one simple foundation: the power of the individual. Your power.
Okay, so the core concept here is something called consumer agency. It's really just a fancy way of saying you have the power to make your own decisions based on what you want and what you can afford. It's the freedom to use your own stuff, your time, your money, however you think is best.
And it's really important we don't mix up agency with choice. See, choice is just a list of options on the menu. Agency, on the other hand, is your fundamental power to pick from that menu, or to just get up and walk away completely. That's the real power.
So where does this power even come from? Well, it really rests on three big ideas. First, private property. You have the right to own things. Second, economic freedom. You can use what you own without someone else interfering. And third, economic individualism. This is the belief that when you just look out for your own interests, you actually indirectly help everybody else.
Okay, so we've got all these individuals, all with their own power. But how do billions of separate, self-interested decisions somehow come together to create a system that actually functions? I mean, how does all that potential chaos turn into coordination?
And this is where we get to one of the most famous ideas in all of economics: Adam Smith's invisible hand. The whole theory is that when everyone just does what's best for them, an unintended social benefit just emerges. It's an order that arises all by itself, with no central planner directing traffic.
So here's how that invisible engine really works. Let's say a new health trend makes avocados super popular all of a sudden. Demand shoots up, right? So prices go up. That higher price is a signal to farmers to start growing more avocados. Then, as more avocados hit the market, the supply increases, and the market finds a new, stable price. Nobody ordered this to happen. It just happened.
So, the really crucial point here is that this whole mechanism is fueled by just one thing: voluntary transactions. Every single exchange, whether you're buying a coffee or signing a work contract, is based on mutual agreement. The whole system is literally built on millions and millions of yeses happening every single second.
All right, so if this engine pretty much runs on its own, what's the best way to keep it going? Well, the guiding philosophy is actually pretty simple: just don't interfere.
This is the whole principle of non-interference, often called laissez-faire. In its purest form, the government's job is to be more like a referee, enforcing the rules of the game, like contracts and property rights, but it doesn't actually play in the game or try to pick the winners and losers.
So what does this hands-off approach actually look like? Well, it usually means deregulation, getting rid of rules that might slow down business. It means no government quotas, so supply and demand can do their thing. And it means opening up to global networks to encourage as much competition as possible.
But wait a minute. Without the government watching over everything, what keeps people from cheating? Well, the idea is that the market has its own police force, self-regulation. Things like competition and reputation act as natural checks. A company with a terrible product or a bad reputation will get punished by customers who just choose a better option.
This all sounds pretty neat and tidy in theory, right? But what happens when it hits the real world? Now we got to look at both the ideal outcomes of the free market and some of its built-in challenges.
The big promise is something called market justice. This is the argument that if the process itself is fair, meaning it's voluntary and competitive, then whatever outcome it produces is also fair. It's all about giving everyone an equal opportunity to play the game, not guaranteeing everyone gets the same score at the end.
And this really shows the two sides of the coin here. On one hand, you have market correction, this incredible ability for the system to heal itself over time. But on the other hand, you have market volatility, those short-term shocks and unpredictable swings that can have very, very real consequences for people. But there's another, maybe deeper problem. Sometimes the price you pay for something doesn't actually reflect its true cost. Sometimes there's a hidden price tag. We call these externalities. The classic example is pollution. A factory might be able to make a product really cheaply because it's just dumping its waste into a river. The price of their product doesn't include the cost of that pollution to the environment or to the health of the people living downstream. That social cost is an unaddressed externality, a hidden cost of that free market transaction.
So let's bring it all together. At the end of the day, the free market is a remarkably powerful engine for organizing human activity. It coordinates billions of individual actions using the decentralized signal of price, and it's all built on a foundation of freedom and competition.
It's an engine that creates incredible efficiency and innovation, for sure. But it also raises a pretty profound question. In a system that's driven by the self-interest of billions of people, with no single person in charge, who's actually steering this thing? And where are we all headed?